Namaste viewers, welcome to Gnana channel. We will go through a series of discussions or rather video talks trying to understand on Īśāvāsya Upanishad, the commentary by Sri Adi Śaṅkara and then how we need to understand them. This about 18 to 20 episodes we will continue with them. But before we go to the details, I request you to please like, share and then subscribe to my channel. Thank you for your valuable support. Please go through the contents and then post your comments in the comment box. Thank you. Now let's take an authentic extract from Adi Śaṅkarācārya's commentary, that is Bhashya, on the Yoga Sutras, final verse of the final sutra of Yoga Sutra. Purushartha Shunyam Gunanam pratiprasava Kaivalyam Swarupa Pratishtava Citi-śakti iti. This is the Yoga Sutra. Purushartha Shunyanam Gunanam pratiprasava Kaivalyam Swarupa Pratishtava Citi-śakti iti. This is the this thing. For this particular sutra, particular shloka, particular stanza, Adi Śaṅkarācārya explains Tasmat Citi-śaktehe Swarupa Pratishtha eva Kaivalyam Gunanam pratiprasavaha Tesham Karyakarana Bhava Parityagaha Avidyāyaha Nashat Swatmanyeva Sthitihi Ityartaha. This is the explanation given by Śaṅkara. So, therefore, Kaivalya, the state of ultimate liberation, is nothing other than the establishment of consciousness, Citi-śakti, in its own true nature. Pratiprasava means reabsorption of the guṇas, means that their function as cause and effect come to an end. So when Avidyā, that is ignorance, is destroyed, the self rests in its own pure being, untouched, eternal and luminous. Now let's try to understand a little more in detail these explanations. See, the introduction to this Īśāvāsya Upanishad, it starts like this. Why these verses, why these mantras are not used in rituals? Śaṅkarācārya begins by explaining that the verses of the Īśāvāsya Upanishad are not meant for ritual actions, that is karma. It is not for karma kanda. Like fire sacrifices or offerings, it is not for that. Why means it is because these verses, these sutras, these mantras talk about the true nature of the self. The true nature of the self is pure, unchanging and eternal spirit within us, and not about doing any particular action. This is what he says. The rituals are connected with doing something, performing certain things, so that you get a result. It is for getting some kind of a result. But the self, according to the self, is not actually, it is not something we can create. The self is not something we can modify. It is not obtaining something or purify through any ritual. It cannot be done, all those things. The self, it is already pure. It is eternal and beyond all actions. This is what the introduction the meaning of this introduction. So these verses are meant. Then why these verses are meant? There is always a question. Huh? They are meant to help us understand the truth of who we are, not to tell us what to do. What the self really is, according to Śaṅkara, the true self is pure and stainless. The self is the one and unchanging. It is beyond this body. It is present everywhere. It is not a doer or not an enjoyer. It doesn't do anything, it doesn't enjoy anything. So this means the self Atman is not affected by anything we do or experience. It is not the body that acts, eats, grows or dies. It is not the mind that feels happy or sad. It is the silent witness, the eternal awareness behind all experiences. That is what the Atman is. So there is always a doubt why people do rituals, then why would they do all these things? Śaṅkaracārya says people who perform rituals are those, very bluntly he says, are those who still believe they are the body and mind, not the pure self. Very clear in his thought. He says people who perform rituals are those who still believe they are the body and mind, not the pure self. They think, that means the persons who perform all this, they think I am this person, I want heaven or blessings, I want to remove my sins, all those kinds of things. So Śaṅkaracārya says such thinking comes from ignorance, Avidyā. So what is Avidyā? The misunderstanding that the self is limited or impure. This is the Avidyā. So the Vedas, the sacred scriptures, they give rituals as a way to help. It's only a way to help such people gradually purify their mind. It is not a complete, this thing, medicine for that. It is to help such people gradually purify their mind. Say, like, a child, A, B, C, D, only then she can understand words and things like that. So it is like this. It is to ensure that such people gradually purify their mind and move towards higher understanding. But once a person realizes the truth of the self, he no longer needs rituals, just as someone who wakes up doesn't need to keep dreaming. Dream state is different. In the wake up state, you don't dream unless that is called as daydreaming, that's all. So what these verses actually do is the Īśāvāsya Upanishad is meant to remove ignorance about the self. When ignorance goes away, knowledge of oneness, that is unity, arises. We realize that all beings are one with the same divine self. This realization brings an end to sorrow, confusion, and fear. It shows us that the self was never bound, never limited. Only it was hidden by misunderstanding. It was not revealed because we misunderstood it. This is called liberation. This is called moksha. This is called freedom, Kaivalya, according to Śaṅkaracārya. So who is qualified to understand, study it, Śaṅkara very briefly mentions that not everyone is ready to study such deep truths. One must have a desire for truth, not for worldly results. You must have a desire for truth, a calm and pure mind, and the ability to think clearly and deeply. These are the three requirements to know that. Only such a person can benefit from these teachings, because they are not about outer actions but inner realization. So the summary is, you are not the body, not the mind, you are the pure, eternal, ever free self. No action can create or destroy that self. Knowing this truth alone brings peace, freedom, and true happiness. Thus, the Īśāvāsya Upanishad is not a manual of rituals. It's a mirror showing our true self. So, to put it simply, the Upanishad teaches that you are already divine. You don't need to become anything. You just need to realize who you really are. When you know this, all confusion ends and you live in peace, seeing the same self in all. Yes, with this explanation for introduction to this Īśāvāsya Upanishad, we'll continue with all the stanzas, like all the text that is there. We'll try to understand them in a more detailed and then more progressive way. Thank you. Like, share, and then subscribe to my channel. Thank you for your valuable time in listening to this. Thank you, viewers.